and he's an in real life friend. I've met this guy before a couple of times. He's came to my house and stayed a couple of times. He's made the long trip from the north down here to the south to come hang out. And how are you doing, Theodoric? You've had your name changed. You changed your name from Boris Gall. That was your old YouTube channel.
Yeah.
What led to the rebranding? You could say.
Man, when I originally was doing the Borscht Gall channel, I picked Borscht Gall because it sounded cool. It was catchy. It was a bit of a play on words on my attitude. I feel I'm a boorish guy, and I thought Borscht Gall made sense. But I'm not even Celtic. I'm a Swede, and my
I thought
family.
I was
Yeah,
going to say I thought since you're from the upper Midwest, I figured you definitely got some Swedish in you. I remember
yeah.
you telling me
My
that in the past.
my family comes from Gotland. My great grandfather, Adolphus Gustav Nelson, sailed pretty much from there over to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia, lived in Minnesota X amount of years. You get it. But and then on top of it, the channel was like in my truck when I was doing trucking, like full time,
Yes.
right? And I'm not doing trucking full time. I don't live in the truck anymore. I get to live at home with the family. It's pretty great. Um, and so I kind of wanted to leave that channel in the past, and I wanted to take on the new identity that, for one, it fits me better, and two, um, I wanted to add more editing and stuff to my videos. I'm working on a 4-part series right now, kind
Oh,
of
are
like
you?
on pillars of manhood and like self. I'm not a self-help channel by any means, but I definitely think that we
It's
should
important.
we should
It's
be
important.
evaluating ourselves, because a person who's just entering blindly and chaotically into the fray without self-realization is a dangerous person, not only to the enemy but to the brothers around them. And I don't want to enter a foxhole with you if
Yeah.
you're not you don't get your shit straight. But so that's pretty much the rebrand. And Theodoric is pretty much just an older version of my name, which is Derek. So
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty nice, man. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you have to say. I was really saddened whenever your YouTube channel, whenever you took it down. I was like, oh man, we've
sorry,
lost
bro.
a real one. But now you're back. That's what matters. Um, and like I had mentioned earlier, we know each other in real life.
Yeah,
Mentioned earlier, he's came down here and stayed with me a couple of times. Actually, it was, I believe, a year ago this weekend is when you
we
made your
met.
first trip down here. I
Yeah,
think it was 52 weeks ago today that we went swimming up there in the Hiwassee River, jumping off that,
yeah.
doing a little base jumping off the
Little
cliff on the
base
side.
jumping.
It was great, man. I haven't been swimming any this summer. I got to change that. Unfortunately,
Man, I'm telling
been
you,
too
like
busy.
a couple weeks, man. Let's do a thing, man.
Let's do a thing. Let's get it
I'll
together.
bring the beers, man. You
Oh
bring the
yeah,
location. We'll have a
I don't.
great time.
you know, guys, anybody watching me, whenever he came down here the first night, we sat in my basement and we filmed a video,
It was like
and
two hours.
we were drinking some Irish
No,
Jameson
no, no.
Irish whiskey
Oh
beer.
yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
the.
I was making them Irish car bombs. I
Yeah.
love an Irish car bomb. Guinness and Bailey's and some Jameson. And man, I remember Miranda took us to go get pizza and I was feeling good. I had a pretty good buzz. I ain't
We
gonna
were
lie.
buck breaking the whole way.
Yes, massa.
Massa.
Yes, massa. This buck ain't gonna break himself.
Break itself. That's
I was
one
dying laughing.
peculiar.
That's one.
Anytime it's brought up, anytime.
Well, that's one peculiar buck right there. Oh man! So I wanted to give you, like I said, we filmed like an hour long interview,
Yeah.
and it took me forever to post it. And then when you finally came back, I was like, "You want me to post that interview?" And literally the next day, my fucking laptop blows up that I had it saved on. I had to get a new laptop. So for the first part of this interview, what I wanted to do was give you an opportunity to kind of talk about yourself, whatever you want to reveal. Talk about your past. You're very well traveled. You've traveled all across the world, which is the very uh, the very opposite of me. I've never been outside of the southern United States. So if you want to take a few minutes here and tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to your opinions, your past travels, all these things.
Yeah, sure. All right. So from a rural town in northern Illinois, and I was always the rambunctious, disobedient kid, and I didn't want to really do anything but fight people. So I joined the Marine Corps, and in the Marines, I was a radio operator. I didn't see combat. I didn't get to do any of that fun shit that I wanted to do because peacetime Marine Corps is pretty gay.
Oh, is it?
It's fucking the worst. It's hell. But I did get to start seeing the world, which is something I really enjoyed. I was on float. I got to see a bunch of Asian countries, the Middle East, and some places I've actually been back to. And while I was in these places, I started to understand the difference between not only me being an American, but me being, a ginger, great shape, I'm like 5'11", like I'm approaching 6 foot if I'm wearing high heels. And you walk amongst like Asians and like Arabs, and you realize like how just something's different between like how you think and how they think. And so while I was in Abu Dhabi, I went to this big ass library and I bought every Norse book I could buy. Specifically because on ship we were watching the first season of Vikings. Vikings came out. It was the first season.
Yeah, that would have
been
watching back in 2013, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep. And that's exactly when I was in deployment. And we were watching that, man, and I was just like, oh no, these people are like me. Like now it makes sense why my grandfathers had these Swedish flags, and we had all this like Swedish tradition with like lingonberries and all this kind of crap, and it was really starting to get to me. So I bought a bunch of Norse books, everything I could, the Eddas, these poetry books, and I just sat in my rack or like on the flight deck, and I was like, I'm like my ancestors on the open sea, like notice me, great gods, And I started to really get into that mindset. It wasn't complete yet, I really hadn't reached the zenith of what I become today. And after
it's a process, man. We are always in a process, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully the process leads to your ascension instead of stagnating or even descending. We're a process. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
No, bro, you're totally cool with your channel. And after the military, I realized how much I enjoyed being out. And I lived with my dad. I was 22, 23 or something, and I was like, I got no responsibilities, so I'd work a whole winter and I'd go travel, and I'd work a whole winter and I'd go travel. I did that for a couple of years, man. Like I've been almost every country in Europe. I haven't been to a lot of the Balkan states. I haven't been to any of the Med states because they didn't interest me at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't really give a shit, honestly, about like Rome or anything like that, because I was more interested in like places I knew I had heritage in.
Yes, I understand that.
And it's the very that they look like me, like my brother, he's my half brother. My brother, he's his grandparents come from Germany and stuff, and like I just wanted to go to a place that looked like them. And I've been all over the damn globe, and then I went back to the desert. I haven't been back to Asia in a long time. I always want to go to Japan. They have a good warrior culture. We fought each other really good, and as a Marine, I want to go to like certain places in Japan, like Iwo Jima and Guadalcanal and all those fun places to just experience that history that we had with each other, because man, like coming from a warrior culture, I respect warrior people, and I think maybe that's why Germany in Japan, you know, really had an eye to eye in the Second War. But that's just me.
Oh yeah. I'm typing something in the chat here.
No, bro, you're good.
I'm trying to shield your channel for you a little bit here.
Oh, ain't you just this fleetest? No, yeah, but I travel all over. I spend a lot of time in Poland.
Interesting. What was your favorite country in Europe? What would you say? That's probably a difficult question. I'd say there's a lot of interest.
Maybe it's because it's so fresh, but because of my recent trip, I really liked Iceland.
Iceland?
I really liked Iceland. There's something about Iceland I really particularly enjoyed. Because the summer right now is like 100 degrees outside, and I'm just boiling my 240-pound ass off, and it's like 30 degrees there, and I was the only person with I had like short sleeves. I was like, yes. I was at a like a sauna. Like they have public bathhouses in Iceland. It's super cool. And like you go and you pay like $5, and everyone gets to swim and do hot tubs together. And I went into the sauna, and I was chilling with everybody. And I was like, oh, how's everyone doing? Because I'm a talky, chatty motherfucker. And like they were all like, oh. And this woman was like, "We thought you were Icelandic the whole time."
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was, but it was good. I liked Iceland. I like Sweden. Germany was pretty. The German people are just the worst. Like
really?
Yeah, I'm too American.
Oh really?
Man, like if you fast, like being an American is like there's like a thing, like how they say Americans are loud. It's true. Like even the quiet ones are loud, and I'm
boisterous.
Yeah,
really boisterous.
And I'm specifically loud for an American, so it's like Germans don't really like loud, rowdy Americans. Germans are very quiet and. I met a few good people, but I met them in the hostel I stayed at, and I don't think they were German. So it's like, and they were young.
Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting the differences. I mean, I can tell a difference. The furthest north I have ever been is Maryland. That's there in Maryland. North. It's north for me. But I can tell the people up there are very different. I mean, hell, even the people down here in Southeast Tennessee where I live, I can tell a difference from them compared to just in the Northeast corner of the state where I'm from originally. It's a lot different. But yeah, oh man, somebody in the chat, I posted it a second ago, Theodoric. I keep wanting to call you Boar or Gall.
Sorry, bro.
But I'm going to show the comment. They said, "Why is this a Pepsi commercial? Turn that T-shirt inside out right now."
well, if you want to know why I have a Pepsi shirt, it's because when my grandfather fought in Vietnam, all they served was Coca-Cola at the bases. Now this grandfather was a stone cold fucking savage. He used to tell us about how he used to like fucking like shoot kids and shit like over there because they had like fucking like rifles and shit, so they had to like blow them up or else they'd get blown up. But anyway, long story short, he doesn't drink Coke. All he drinks is Pepsi. Like literally, that's the only thing in his house. There's no fucking water. There's just Pepsi. And I like Pepsi Cola because of that. And it's out of respect. I know it seems silly, but like it's out of respect, out of like one of the greatest men I know in my life.
Yeah. Our buddy, this is my friend Slowburn. He's got a really good BitChute channel. I wish I had a link to it handy. I'd post it in the chat. But he said, just got back from the liquor store. Jameson it is. Oh, man. Let's see. Another guy here says, Matt W. I met a bunch of Germans nearby me touring here. The women all had short hair and a resting bitch face, and the guys were all drunks. I wasn't impressed. They looked and acted as demoralized as whites here. That's sad to hear. It's really sad to
Yeah,
hear.
it's sad to see people who are drunk being demoralized, man. I only have a good time when I'm drinking.
I know. Yeah, I wanna be a happy drunk. I don't want to be a depressed and there's a tear in my beer because I'm crying for you, dear.
There's a
singing a little,
tear in my beer.
singing a little Hank Singer for you guys today. I can't sing though, but yeah. As you said, you've also been to Asia as well, the Middle East.
Yeah.
You've traveled all across the world.
Yeah, man.
Um,
And and I do it yearly. So every year I take many little trips in the states. I'm also a trucker, so I travel that way as well. But I take a lot of
yes.
little trips in the states. But every year I take a big trip abroad. And my wife lets me do it, or else I'm like, look, bitch, you will either let me travel or I'm going to cheat on you. You could pick what you want. I'm just kidding. Estelle. She's gonna watch this later. No, but in all
She'll beat
honesty,
your
like,
ass. She'll beat your ass, Theodoric. She'll whoop it. She's
I'll
got
be
that temper.
I'll be sleeping and she'll be like, it choked me harder. I'm just kidding.
Oh man. But yeah, that's awesome that you get to travel a lot. Let me say hi to Swamp here, Swamp Bro.
My man Swamp. Friend.
Yeah, I'm like you, Matt W. I'm not really a big fan of drinking anymore, but about once a week I'll have me a couple of beers or a little mixed drink of some kind. I don't never get knocked down, drag out drunk like I did back when I was a teenager and in my early 20s.
Yeah.
I thankfully outgrew that shit.
Well, I think there's a time to get knocked down, drag out drunk every once in a while. But hell, even in the Havamal, Odin talks about temperance and the importance of it. But at the same time, don't be a fucking stiff. If everyone's having a beer, drink with them. Like
yeah,
it's like
you don't want to be rude. That's
well,
how
not
I
even
look
that.
at it.
It's
If
like
someone,
you can't control your alcohol. Like if you can't control your alcohol, can you even control like anything else? Do you still get boners? Are you a fucking man? What's up? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not coming at that guy. I'm just saying in general.
So, yeah, trucking guy, Miranda cut all my hair off for me a couple of weeks ago. It's a lot cooler. It's a lot less maintenance. It's a lot more practical for you know, if things ever come to push and shove, we should say.
Oh.
Oh man, Finn Wraith. He also brought up an interesting point a second ago. Let me scroll back. Northern Europeans are quiet and antisocial. I have heard this before. They're a lot more reserved. I remember spending a few years of my childhood in America and saw how different it was that people would say hi to strangers. That's how it is, Finn Wraith.
Yeah.
That's how it is here in the southern United States. The people here in the southern United States are generally more friendly, from what I've heard, compared to people
I
in
would
the
say the
north.
Midwest. I would say the Midwest is the same as the South. You're thinking of like the like New England, like
Yeah, or the mid-Atlantic states. Like up in Maryland, I thought people were kind of stuck up, but I mean, there's exceptions to everything. These are just
of course.
generalizations. Anyways, I figured we would get to talking about your recent trip to Europe. Your recent trip to Europe, Theodoric. If you want to tell us a little bit about the places you went, and we'll get into the Pagan Futures event after we do this.
Well, I mean, the main trip destination was England. I was going to stay in London. I've made many friends along my travels, so I have plenty of people to see as I travel. But I like taking long layovers in places because it gives you like an appetizer of a place before you even get to really delve in and taste the meat. So I had that layover.
Are you there, brother?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hey. Yeah, could you just yeah, it cut out for just a second. I can hear you
Okay.
now. Just start back over a second ago where you was talking about the layover. I apologize.
Sure. No, you're good, bro. Yeah, and so I like to take layovers because it's like a nice little appetizer of a place before you actually get to experience a place. And so I stopped in Iceland for a little over, it was about 30 hours. That's a long time. I was about 30 hours in Iceland, and it was so nice. It was beautiful. The fjords, like,
Oh man, I bet so.
is in New England. The South is rude to me.
That's my friend Arian. He's a good guy. He said the South was rude to me. I think the heat in the South is very rude, personally. But
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
here I'm here in Southern Appalachia, so I mean it's not as unbearable as it is, say, in like Mississippi or Georgia, Southern Georgia. But anyway, continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No, bro, you're
get you
good. And you know,
sidetracked.
I did the bathhouse. You know, I got right straight fucking drunk, and the midnight sun was out all night. You know, it was bright because it was the solstice, like the day before, and so
Yeah,
like it was awesome. It was really nice. It was refreshing. Like it was refreshing more than anything because it was cold. Nice 30-degree temperatures. You know, I definitely think it's a place I'm going to go back to and explore, specifically because I do a lot of strongman, and they
yeah,
have the full Sturker stone there, you know, where like the Icelandic fishermen and Vikings would lift these stones in order of weight to see how they got paid on the ships, right?
yes,
There was a
yes.
weakling stone, you know, you get a paid stone, and then a half strength and the full Sturker stone. And I want to lift some stones. I don't think I could lift the Husafeld stone. I'm pretty strong, but I'm not. I don't think I'm that strong. Definitely would try, but definitely a place I'd go back and visit.
Well, I know you post videos in our Telegram group of your lifting, your exercises and stuff. What's your squat up to right now? You can squat a whole lot. What's it
I
up to
could,
right now?
yeah, sure. My one rep maxes right now. I squat 5'10" for my squat. I deadlift
Damn.
about 5'45" for my deadlift. I bench about 325, and I press about 215. I've been working more on my press so I could press 225, 2 plates. So
Oh, nice, nice. I didn't mean to get sidetracked off there, but if you want to continue about your time in Iceland, they have
yeah,
a lot
no,
of hot springs there, don't they?
they do, but I only stayed in Reykjavik, and mainly because of money and time, you know, like get the very idea of the appetizer layover is to just get the appetizer, right? Like if I
Yeah,
want to spend if I really want to go and delve into the culture, I can take a regular trip there. But I mean,
very
it's very
nice.
beautiful. Like it's beautiful, and the people are super friendly. And you know, out of all the Scandinavian countries, I felt like they were the chattiest.
Really,
Don't know what this
interesting.
is.
That's good.
I mean, now it's because I'm older. You know, I'm pushing 30, and when I was traveling all the other places, I was a horn dog and fucking wild as all shit. So
A lot of young men are like that. It's just part of being a young man, I suppose. Um, and then you also went to England,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Where all did you make it to in England, other than the big
Man.
event you attended?
So there was a strike, a train strike, and I've never been
Wow.
more like I'm like fuck this shit. I was so upset because all I wanted to do, besides the event and seeing my friend, all I wanted to do was go to Sherwood Forest and see, the major oak, which is like a 1,000-year-old friggin' oak tree. They had held up by stilts pretty much, because it's so big.
Yeah.
It's nearly a zombie tree at this point. But we people grow up with cowboys. I grew up with tales of Robin Hood and Sherwood Forest and Little John and robbing from the sheriff. And I just really wanted to see that. Didn't get to. So all I really did was just kind of mosey through the city, kind of take my time, just not really talking to much, just looking around. I went to the museum. The highlight, honestly, was going to the Pagan Future event, man. I had a great time. Great time.
That's awesome. And I figured that's what we would talk about a fair amount is what your experience was with the
Sure.
with the Pagan Futures event. I have to admit, I have never been a really big fan of Survive the Job. I've always been kind of skeptical of him, but I will say this. I think that I will say this. Vard was my entry point into this, and we all know that Vard doesn't think much of STJ. So I think my early
He doesn't think
impression of
much in
STJ,
general. I mean, I don't know.
my early, my early impression of STJ was probably heavily influenced by Vard because Vard, his videos on Tulane in Perspective, that was my entry point. That was kind of his channel, Odell Sarvin, the old channel that Vegard Solheim used to run. Those were my entry points. From them, I found Apollonian Germ. I found from Apollonian Germ, I found Didymus, and I've branched out some. When I started, and I mean, when I started this channel, I was pretty anti-Christian. Nowadays, I'm not. I'm not really so much anti-Christian. I would consider myself, I guess, a pagan. I'm not an expert on it by any means. But I think it's just what fits our native European biospirit is the old beliefs. But I'm not, I don't go around attacking Christians, arguing with them. I ain't got time for that shit anymore. I just have my beliefs and they have theirs.
Yeah.
But I will say this: whenever me and you had the idea to do this stream, gosh, it's been several weeks ago. I've watched a few of Survive the Jobs videos, and I think that he does do some really good research on some things. Yeah. And the Pagan Futures event, I watched him whenever it was released from behind the paywall. I watched it last week, and he is a very good speaker, I believe. And there was some things that he said, that during that about transhumanism and stuff that I agree with, But tell us about how it went. If you want to get into it.
Yeah, man, I'll get all the way into it. So it started off by he posted a video talking about the event, and I was like, damn, I'll be able to go see a friend. I get to do some traveling. I can make this my trip this year, and I think it'd be a good way to feel out more pagans. You and me talked about even organizing some sort of event,
Yeah, we talked about it last summer. We were talking about having some sort of get together.
This was what I had in mind. Maybe a little different, maybe a little less collegiate or intellectual, more festival kind of fun gathering. But at the same time, I had a lot of fun at this event, and so I purchased the ticket. And they gave us the destination the day of, in the morning.
Yeah, I looked at the web. I was doing some research about it, and I seen where they said that they were just going to release the location to the attendees the day of. That way they wouldn't bring a lot of attention to it. That was pretty smart, I believe, on his behalf.
I completely 100% agree. It's it's for one, it's a foreign country for me specifically, right? It's a foreign country, and I would have gotten into a fight, if some smart ass British Antifa fucks or whatever would have came and tried to start something. I would have
conflict. Might have ended up in jail. Might have ended up in jail.
and I'm really glad he did what he did because it was very smart. Not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, they'll broadcast it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and if we ever decide, no, maybe not. Fuck, actually, it's America. But anyway, beside the point. So we go. I show up, and everyone's kind of waiting outside. It's at this Polish type restaurant, which is funny because I spent a lot of time in Poland.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of moseying around, maybe in their own little groups. I meet this wonderful couple. This guy and his lady, and we're chatting it up, and we go, and they open the doors, and we get patted down and searched and stuff, and so they had security there and all that, and the bar was open, so of course everyone has to go, and they get their libations, their drinks, loosen the tongue a little bit, and everyone was so, I don't know, it felt I don't want to say freeing because that sounds real fucking gay, but really freeing, right? Like oh, everyone here in some way or another feels the same. Like they have like the same like idea of like deification of like like our gods like as me, which is refreshing. You don't get to feel that every day, living in middle America, I mean,
Yeah.
my wife's family's Christian. I still go to church out of respect for things, So it's like it's really nice to be able to experience like oh, who are your patron gods? What about you? Oh, this is so cool. Like it felt very invigorating, and I promise it wasn't the alcohol because I just started drinking once I got there.
Yeah.
But we all took our seats and took this, and there was a little like it was not a little, it was pretty big. I bet there was about 50, 60 people. There's probably
In
more.
the auditorium.
It was a little. It was a nice. Yep. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I recall reading that survived that STJ said that I believe there was 130 people in attendance. I think.
No,
don't hold me to that, but I that number.
That seems right. I mean, I was, like I can't count. I'm fucking retarded. So, but no, and then Vulcansman.
Hey, Theodoric, I was about to call you Boar or Gall
Boar.
again. Yeah. There's a couple of questions in the chat. I wanted to ask you right quick. Let me.
Bro, I got all day.
Give me a second. Well, shit, I can't find it right this second. They one of our friends here was asking, how do you maintain your strength training while you're traveling? Do you just take some time off, or do you work out while you're traveling? What do you do? That's the question.
So basically. That's great. I love coaching when so I don't take deload weeks, right? My deload weeks are built into the time that I get sick, I take off, kids need attention, wife needs attention, I travel. So by the time like I get to those that point, or by the time I get to the point, like I'd probably be in need of some sort of vacation, or I plan for it, right? We'll say that I'm lifting, and I'll just in the last month I'll peak my lifting, decreasing sets, increasing my intensity, my sets and reps, and increasing my intensity till like a week before I just hit a solid, one rep, a max rep or something, So that's how I would definitely do. That's how I would definitely do that. But I mean, even if right, like, don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about it. Like, let's be real here. None of us are professionals. We're not Eddie Halls, Brian Shaws. We're not Martins or and any of these real high level athletes. Like, who gives a shit if your strength falls like even 50 pounds, man? Like, strength and fitness is a lifetime journey. It's not a sprint, like I'll be hitting a 600-pound deadlift when I'm 35. I don't have to worry about that right now. Like, it'll come in time. It'll come.
You don't want to overdo it,
Not even that. Just like calm the fuck down. You'll be okay. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh man, let's see here. Anyways, I didn't mean to get sidetracked.
No, man.
Audience,
we got
Theodoric, I apologize. I am a scatterbrained person. I'm not going to lie. I'm not the most organized, but if I see something that is interesting that someone asks, I like to get it out there. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt your train of thought about the pagan futures. If you want to return to that, feel free.
Yeah. No. So we sat down at the auditorium, right? And Volkasman, Dan Cap started playing, and man, I didn't pay to hear Jive and Dr. Borgia speak. Okay, I didn't pay for them. I paid for the musical performance of Dan Cap. That's what I paid for. If you haven't heard Volkasman, which is like W, for Volkasman.
Yeah, I've seen his music. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I personally enjoy like folk, like this new age dark folk ambiance music. It puts me in the right train of thought when I'm like writing or doing something creative. Man, I love that shit because I had like 2-3 beers and I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like it was like a concert. It was great, and he's very talented. And I talked a long time with him after the entire thing. I talked with everyone a long time after the thing. But so anyway, he finished up, and then Dr. Borgia took the stage, and I wasn't sure about him. I liked what a lot. I liked some things he was saying, like as like a Platonist or whatever, or Neoplatonist. And afterwards, when I got to speak with him, I spoke with him. Me and him and another, the Chad Platonist, if you know him off Telegram. We all sat together for like an hour, and we were.
Is it the Chad Pastoralist? Is that the guy that runs, or is it Chad? Is there a Chad Platonist as well? I mean, I see a lot of
it could be
people
either
posting. I think I've seen the Chad Pastoralist before.
I think that's it. I think
it is. He posts some pretty good stuff. I like.
Is it like fun, like kind of like meme-ish and stuff?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
That's probably it then. But me and him and Borgia, we all sat together. Man.
Oh, this is one.
Nah, man, I'm sorry.
I just post them on there, man.
You're good, bro. You're
no
good. My puppy brain's like, and but what he was saying was really good. Now, I think there were some things he started with this idea of like a pendulum, to like explain like transhumanism and like religious like certain like a polytheistic thought and stuff. But he kind of ditched that towards the end, and I thought that made his presentation a little weak. But by a little weak, I mean it was still I think I paid like $25-$30 for like what I like paid for the 2 speakers. He did 3 songs. The Volksmann, and the company.
Was the event all in one evening, or was it stretched out over a couple of days?
It was all one evening, man. I think it was like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and bro, we'll get there. But like, it ended at like 6 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, and so we had intermissions and stuff after Dr. Borgia talked, and I apologize to Dr. Borgia, but like I completely forgot to go to his channel when I was reviewing today about like the topic, and so I don't really remember every detail.
I think his channel's called The Modern Platonist, I believe.
Yeah, it's The Modern Platonist. Yeah. But I completely forgot to do that. And I figured we'd probably just talk about what Jive had to say. So
yeah, that I was just going to interject real quick here. One thing that I was like you, I was skeptical of about Dr. Villalonga is, I mean, I want to be fair here. I want to get all the positives, but I mean, we got to look at this too.
Hey, no. 1 sec.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
My phone is dying. I need to go get my charger.
Okay.
And reposition myself.
That's fine.
So can we take a short intermission? You can answer questions, talk to the chat or whatever.
Yeah, I'll talk. I'll talk to the chat. I'll finish saying what I was going to right now.
All right.
So go ahead.
I'm gonna turn off my cam then.
Okay.
And go get my charger and all that stuff. Okay, man.
You're good. I'll hold it down. But anyway, guys, no problem. But anyway, guys, what I wanted to say was that I was kind of skeptical about Dr. Villalonga. I mean, he is, after all, married to a member of the you-know-who-ish tribe. She is a lady by the name of Elisa Goodman, I believe. And, there was a lot of people I seen on Telegram that was objecting to this. And, I understand that for good reason. I mean, it's suspicious, in my opinion, a little bit. Dr. Villalonga and his wife, Miss Goodman, they own a company called Demian Media, which is based in New York City. They're a sort of media company. I'll see if I can pull page here, but yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I was suspicious about that, to be honest. But anyway, I don't want to get any further into that right this second. How's everybody doing? Is that you, Krusty? Is that you, Crustacean? Lamentation? It's good to see you. Glad you could stop by. Hope everybody's feeling good, feeling great today, as Pat says. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see what we got going on. See what the chat's got to say. Let's see. Anybody got anything to say? Glad to finally catch you live. Yeah, I'm glad you could stop by too, Snorkel. Glad you could catch me.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're fine, man.
I'm getting everything readjusted here, so.
Dude, this wouldn't be a show of mine if I wasn't some sort of technical problem. So this is fine. It ain't no big deal.
It ain't nothing but a G thing, is all the cool kids would say. Just kidding, guys. Don't hate me.
It ain't, man. Ring-a-ding-ding, ain't no thing. Come on down, 50 cents a pound. Don't be dumb, come get you some. What's up, man, Drake? How you doing? How you doing, bro? Glad you could come by. You said hello from the swamp. Down in the swamp today, man, Drake? You doing some fishing? Doing something cool? Christian Death is a good band too, Will M said. Not folk, but still. Well, personally, I've always liked...
Give me a slight wave if you could hear me.
Oh, I can. Yeah, I can hear you. You're coming in good and clear.
Say something?
You're good. I can hear you.
Oh, crap.
Sounds like a bass drum.
I think this is how it always goes.
It's okay, man.
Oh, that's why. I can hear you now. Hold on. We're good. I'm using a new kind of little stand I got for my phone. The wife got me so I can make videos.
You there?
Yeah, I'm
Looks
here.
good. Sounds good. Looks good.
I also got more refreshments. Sorry. It's my
man, Drake 1811 said, caught more skitters than fish. I know the feeling, man. I ain't had the best summer fishing myself, to be honest. I haven't went fishing in about 3 or 4 weeks. Just been too busy with things. It's pretty disappointing. Oh, man. So
do you want to continue?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just thought it was kind of suspicious or strange, which Dr. Villalonga, he is a historian, am I right? He's worked at New York University, I think the University of Newcastle. But like you said, you talked with him quite a bit. How was he? What was he like?
Sure, man. I think he was. So I bought him a beer. I'm a fairly generous individual. If I meet you in real life, I'll probably buy you a beer. So I bought him a beer, and I bought the pastoralist dude a beer. He was a good little blonde dude. He was real cool too. And man, he was not like you'd think, right? Like he called himself like a Dionysian type person instead of like an Apollonian person, because he had like a little mullet, and
I've seen his hair, and he wears them bow ties. I got to admit, I think the bow ties are a pretty cool touch. I think that's unique.
He was a good dude. He was a good guy. It was like, now of course, like he ain't talking like with you, Wig or Swamp, but like at the same time, I had intellectual questions that maybe an intellectual could answer, right? Like these are people who have a lot of experience in it, and all of the questions I had were kind of questions along the line of like, well, what do us like American folk do about the gods, right? Because the gods are representations, deeper representations, though they're real and physical. We'll get to that later. Of the environment, and how I like to tell my brother and Dean and stuff, my son Dean, about like how tornadoes are Thor when he's been drinking too much whiskey, because Thor's the god of oak, and I mean, what is whiskey aged in but oak barrels?
That's true.
And so I mean, and that's a video I'm making soon, is kind of like how we have a bit of carte blanche to interpret our myths in our way, because the gods of Scandinavia aren't the gods of America. They're not the same. The landscape's not the same. It's harsher. We don't have fjords like they do. It's hot. There's massive storms. The sky is like big and wide. And just like how Deus Pater, evolved as Zeus and Jupiter and Odin and all these other gods, like Odin here in America, this Western expansion of Proto-Indo-Europeans, they change. They have to change. It has to change. It can't be the same thing. I'm tired of calling fucking Thor Thunar and all that shit here in America, because he's not. He's Thor, right? Like our modern English, we have a pronunciation for him. Just like my name isn't Theodoric, it's Derek, right? So I had that question for him, and he was like, keep doing that. You keep doing that, and 10 generations from now, that's going to be the thing, man. And he just kind of drank with us, how can you? I can't be upset with people who are willing to meet people, shake my hand, and just talk about bullshit, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's why we all like each other. It's because none of us are really trying to preach some fucking overarching stupid shit. But he was a good guy, man. Like, I got the good vibes from him.
Well, that's good, and I mean, that's why I think a lot of people were concerned, is his connections to certain things. But I mean, it's just hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
If their heart is in for it for the right reason, which I have to admit, I didn't listen to Dr. Villalonga's speaking session. I only listened to the Survive the Jobs a few days ago. But,
to comment on him, and maybe in some defense to a good person. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. It cut out for just a second. I think we've got a lag.
It happens.
But go ahead. You're good.
In defense, I think, this is my opinion. This is a controversial opinion. Not all people. This too. Not all whites are good. Not all blacks are bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I was just agreeing with you, man.
Not all blacks are bad. Not all Jews are sodomites. And I think some of that needs to be taken into perspective when thinking about everything, because absolutism is stupid, and it means you're not thinking of anything. And you're just like, yeah, that works. Let's go with that. It's like, but that's not completely true. Like you're being dishonest out of a state of frustration. I've served with black guys who've had my back, and I know Jewish people who also have had my back, and luckily legal situations, where I needed help. And I know you have had experiences with people of the other color, and I know too much. Look, ready for this? I know white people were sold down the river by greedy white people, right? Why do we not have gods anymore, man? Why do I have to strive so hard to get my connection back with Thor? It's because a white person deceived my great grandparents.
Well, yeah, that's what you brought up something that is very, very important right there. And this is something that my friend Pat on Surviving by America has spoke about a lot recently. We all know that the Whoish tribe, they are our enemies by and large. But we've got to look at the entire historical picture. And they wouldn't have gotten to their positions of power, influence, all of these things without some sort of help from some sort of elite white class. Yep. A lot of people blame this on the Anglos, which I believe there is blame. But that's one thing I'm going to just shift gears for a second in this broader racialist dissident spheres. You could call it white nationalist. We always look at all the other enemies, but we also have to have the ability to do introspection on what it is with our people, at least here in America, that has led us into the state that we're currently in. And I'm not, and this is something Pat has stressed too, we're not alleviating blame from these other groups, not at all. But we have to take into account what was it, and a lot of the elite whites in history have sold their own people down the river, just like you said. And I think whenever things come to push and shove, I don't buy into the whole white unity thing. We're not all ever going to be united, unfortunately. I'd like to see
nor should we be.
And I mean, I like to think that people on our side, when things come to push and shove, we will gel together. But we've also got to take into account that some of our greatest enemies are going to be the white liberals, the white traitors.
Well, not even that, man. Like even even ourselves, right? Like
oh yeah.
How many of us hold ourselves accountable, right? Or even people who would be normally on our side, right? Like, think of like the Boogaloo type boys, right? Who all wear like the Hawaiian shirts and shit. You know what I mean? Like their heart, like their hearts in the training is right, But at the same time, like, here, I don't think many other races are bad, but I think we hold ours to a higher standard, right? Like I hold you to a high standard, like I hold myself, like I hold my wife, like I hold the den, like I hold any white person I see. And I think that's the most important thing, is that, we have a high in-group preference, and we don't excommunicate others because they look different, but hold them to the same standard. I do believe in like a white ethno state, just because I like living with white people. But at the same time, like, it's so controversial. Like, no one likes to hear that shit. But like, man, like, it's just like I've known so many white people who are fucking trash. I know heroin addicts up in like
yeah, absolutely, man.
Like when they died from like overdose, I was like, thank fucking God. Like, I hate you, motherfucker. Like
I can
maybe it's
I can
statistics,
agree with that sometimes.
But I've been more fist fights with white people than I have with other colors, and I've been in places with other colors. Like, I've been in Africa, man. Like, I've been with the booga like niggers, and they're better than the ones we have over here. And there's a whole thing we could talk about that. But man, like, we've been cut on a little bit of a tangent, haven't we, there, Nord?
Yeah, we really went off the rails there for a second there.
On a crazy train.
Marcus Aurelius, or Krusty, he brought up an interesting point, and I believe he's correct in this. He said you can't shape your policies with exceptions in mind. I can agree with that. That is true. We have to generalize sometimes, even though there may be nuances and stuff. There may be nuance, like you pointed out earlier, but there is we have to. If you're shaping policies, I was just agreeing with Marcus.
No, that's true. Like, if you're shaping policies, but at the same time, like, I think let's take the Norse, for example, right? You and me are Nordic people. I guarantee you're an I1 type. The Norse traveled all over. They didn't just go to fucking France and, Russia and, England and all the white countries. They went to the dark countries too.
They went to Iran.
They've been everywhere.
Persia.
And they traded with those people. They made deals with those people. Hell, the fucking Varangian Guard, like Swedish descendants, they worked for browner people. Well, now, mind you, the people in the Byzantine Empire were quite white at the time. They're probably as white as the tan people, like just a tan person today, but that's not the point. It's still like you need to have an open mind. Don't be closed-minded to the like, here's an example, right? Absolutism is a curse. Hitler used Jews in his own army, in his own force, right, to operate. Like, he used people within the community. Like, he obviously didn't hate them to the extent of total, extermination, camps, whatever you want to call it, right? If he was just working camps and, the Allies bombing starved them, whatever, right? Like, he still teamed up with the Japanese. Like there was some cooperation. And I think some cooperation, some tact, will get a leader a lot farther than just being a mindless savage. Because you're not going to get anywhere if you can't talk with all people. Because all people exist everywhere. And you're not going to get rid of them just like that. I think the greatest thing you could do is bring them to your thought. Like, hey, you like your people way more than mine. Go over there, you stay over there, we'll stay over here. And then, 100 years from now, we'll all kill each other. It'll be great. We can't do that now. I don't want to talk overarching strategy and ideas of like resistance or fighting in it's a very long. I would love to talk about it, but man, like we'll go down a hole.
We've really went off on a tangent here, I suppose you could say.
So anyway, Borgia and his wife, whatever. Like, if she look here, like I have a Jew friend, and my Jew friend does not like liberal Jews. Hasidic Jews are like the Amish. You might have thoughts against anything from Abraham. And that's fine. I completely understand that idea. But like, not all Jews are plotting against people. Some just want to be left alone to practice their faith. And that's very true. And some are good people who would help you out in a drop of a dime. And I know a lot of white people who wouldn't help you out at all. They wouldn't even look at you.
I do think you're right about that, about the white people. Jews are, I think our opinion differs a little bit there. I mean,
no, that's like I said, I have a lot of firsthand experience with it. Like, yeah, like liberal Jews who control the government. Like, I'm not saying that there isn't there is a cult that has separated from that religion to make. That is like, it's the worst thing you can imagine, right? Like we know all about it. Germ talks a lot about it. He's really good at that research. He's so great. The best research in the whole world. He's the absolute, So.
He does do good research. But anyways, I think we've really gotten blown.
Sorry, Chad.
No, that's partially my fault, If you want to get back to, I figured now we would talk about what STJ had to say at the event.
So
there.
I like
summarize it for us.
Yeah, man, I like Survive the Jive. I liked his YouTube channel. I like his YouTube channel. His speaking cadence, his presentation. It's all it's good. Like it's very good. And I want to get this out in the open. Like I give to his Patreon because I feel the information and things that he he gives hour-long videos, in-depth videos with great editing and time and focus put into them, and he only puts them out every so often, and I think that's worth paying for. I think that amount of effort is worth $5, $10 of my time. I don't think anything less than that, like I would never ask, for a buck in that situation, just because like it's something just so, innate. It's easy. I just turn the camera on and I talk. I do a little like drag and drop on like a video editor, and boom, bam, I got a video. But he really does put out some good art. I would almost call it art. It's not just content. Without sucking him off too fucking hard. But his talk was good. He's kind of done a couple follow-up videos to leading up to the conference, and I thought those videos were really good. And I was excited to get into what he had to say, because I wasn't really tracking what Borgia had to say, but Dr. Borgia, and so I think we should start off with a bit of a list I made. I can't access it because if I adjust anything on my phone, it's gonna turn off. So I'm gonna go off memory.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Feel free. Like I said, this is your stream. I wanted to give you a chance to tell us about your trip over there. What were your genuine thoughts? So feel free.
so
Go ahead.
the first thing he said that I completely 100% agree with is the gods are real. The gods aren't a metaphysical representation of thunder or wisdom. They are real. They're physical beings. They exist on a different realm. They are real. They're tangible. They exist. And I think that's something that a lot of us don't like to think because we're all closet atheists that are racist and trying to like get away from Christianity and everything else. But like the gods are real. They're not a metaphysical aspiration of patrilineal type shit. No, they're fucking real. Like you need them to be real. You need them to be real because you need to be able to be humble to them. This is part of the video I'm making right now, but you need to be humble to something. If you don't have like a mentor or a commander or a chieftain above you, the gods are the thing that you prostrate to. You need to worship. You need to be able to say to them, I am lesser than you, and I am lesser than something. And that something is real. And this is my personal take on that. Because people who grow too fucking big for their britches and then getting themselves in a position where they think they can lead, they generally get people hurt. Or they fall to the level of their incompetence. And humbling yourself to look at it like this. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest humans on earth, humbled himself before gods. Like, who are you to not humble yourself? Napoleon humbled himself before a god. Like George Washington, whatever you think about the founding fathers, like they humbled themselves before God. Like you should do the same. Like you're no greater than these men. Matter of fact, you're probably a lot lesser. Like I like to remind myself that like I am so low in the fucking totem pole of life. I only make like 70,000 a year, and I'm fucking useless. Like remember that. Like we're
I wouldn't
all
say that.
generally middle. Man,
I wouldn't say that. You've got a son. You have a child on the way. So I mean, you're more successful than me there. I don't have a child yet. So
I haven't even given my eye to know the things I need to know. Like I have legitimately thought maybe I should like hang myself from like a tree for like 7 days and nights, man. Like seriously, like what is there to be known about the extent of suffering? But anyway, the gods are real. That was his first point, pretty much, in the discussion, and I really agree with it. What about you? What do you think, man?
Man, my opinion is probably some people would probably call me an atheistic sort of pagan. I kind of fall more into. Like I said, I kind of fall more into what Varg Vikernes and Vegard Solheim and them say. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong.
Varg's part of a Jew placenta cult, brother. You don't want to.
But still, I mean, Varg and those guys are how I got into this, and I've expanded. I don't talk so much about paganism anymore. I talk more about racialism and these other things, history.
I think it's important.
But but I can't help it. I've read Stefan Cvetkovich's book, Vegard Solheim's books. I've read some of Varg's books, and I mean it just makes sense to me the way they explain it. Now I'm not saying you're wrong or STJ's wrong. I think. Dude, it's like we all have our interpretations.
There's a video I'm gonna I have in the works. It's there's this scene from Conan the Barbarian, right, where like Conan sitting down with like this Asian guy, and he's like, "What gods do you worship?" And the guy's like, "I worship the four winds." And he's like, "Oh, well, I worship Crom." And there's this idea of that it's one way or the highway, right? And that's not going to work for anybody because a lot of us are A lot of us are low agreeableness, high aggressiveness type individuals. And
Yeah.
there needs to be some sort of cooperation. But I've read Varg's books. I've read Marie's books. I have them downstairs. And I don't dislike them. But the reason I don't like them that's fucking stupid. The reason I don't like them is because we have a lot of works, enough to fill the understanding of what our ancient gods were. And now where do we take those is one thing. But so I don't want to listen to some Norwegian guy who changes like last name to his wife's last name. Like, it's pretty fucking gay, man. But like, I don't know. I just think that we know the gods. We know who they are. We know them. We know them in our religion. We know them in Roman, Greek. We know them in Slavic. We know them in the middle. In like what's that fucking place that System of a Down? Armenia. The Armenians have the same gods. We know the Indian gods. I fucking hate India. It's the worst country I've ever been to. I've been there twice.
Which part of India did you go to? Which parts were you in?
I've been to Goa, India. I've been to Delhi, and I've been around that Delhi area. Look, I could work with black people. I could be like, all right, bro, whatever. I can't work with Indians, Nord. I hate them. And now I've only met. See, the problem is I've only met the lower classes. I hate them. They're so fucking stupid. They are dumb. They are 100% dumb. If there's an Indian channel, go fuck off somewhere. I don't like you. That's that, right? Like I watch channels. Man,
we found something to set you off.
Bro, I'm sweating. Oh man. You want to get me going? They're the worst. But the Rig Veda and those texts are Proto-Indo-European, and a lot of those types of myths that we're missing in our religion kind of fit. It helps fill in those gaps. So we know what's going on. So when and the thing I talked about with Americans kind of have carte blanche is because we're forging the destiny that's coming, right? We're forging the new path of European paganism with expansion, right? He's going back in history and just making shit up. He's making shit up. He's fucking, coming up with bullshit. Talking about how fucking gingers are fucking from Egypt. Like, bro, look, R1B, like Ramses the first and second and Tatu, whatever the fuck, they're R1B. I'm not a fucking R1B. So how can fucking gingers be from Egypt? How can the fairest people who literally fucking evaporate in sunlight? It's stupid shit. But anyway. The gods are real. That's I'm sorry. Nora.
No, that's all right. We really getting off on some tangents here, which I'm fine. I'm fine with that, man. I like I told the chat and you earlier. I'm a scatterbrained person. I'm not the most organized, but I think the next thing that you had on your list that you sent me is you were talking about ritual.
Yep. So the next thing.
What are your what is these rituals? You could say. See, me, I'll say for myself, to be honest, I don't do any ritual. It goes back to me, I guess, where some people would call me a damn, atheistic pagan. But my ritual is anytime I go fishing, anytime I'm out in the woods, I just take a minute and I appreciate things. Nature is my church as I see it. And that's how I, look at it. But I'm interested to hear, what are some of these rituals? Like, what do they call it? A blot or a blot?
A blot. So I've had recent thoughts about this. So ritual. I consider four holidays in like a pagan year. Five. I would consider five actually. But let me just really break it down super simple. Um, there are sacred. I think it's actually one of the next ones, but there are certain places you would do a ritual. But I have to say this: just calling yourself a pagan. I'm not coming at you. Calling yourself a pagan, calling yourself a Christian. If you don't go and take communion, if you don't pray and give offering and sacrifices to the gods, it doesn't make you anything. Like, it just means you like being out in nature. Like green trees are nice. It's a lot better than like a brick building. But like, if you're not doing these things actively, you're not the actual thing. Like, if I told you, oh, I'm a football player. Oh, well, when do you go play games? Oh, I just throw the football with my son. Doesn't make me a fucking football player, Like,
I see.
And on the base level, every Thursday, I have an altar above my mantle, above my fireplace. And I have like a little oak board, and I have candles. And every season, I adjust the. I have like a cloth, like a satin cloth, or like a satin cloth. When it's winter, it's white. When May Day happens, it's red. I just recently turned it to brown for Harvest, the Harvest Festival, which is Lamas. And then after Lamas, once Elfenblut, which is Halloween, happens, I will turn my cloth black until Yule, right?
Yeah.
So I have a little statue, of Thor on my thing, and I have candles, incense, and a little like a little dish I bought from Hobby Lobby. But just the date of the first publishing. Sorry, I can't.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, look,
You're good.
the little squirrel just sent us a message. It's kind of funny. But I have a little thing of incense, and I have like an oak leaf candle. It's my yard is surrounded by 300-year-old oak trees. We had them measured by the county. They're super old. They're awesome. So I hold this kind of house kind of sacred because it's surrounded by great oaks, and Thor's my patron god because I'm middle class. I'm a ginger, and I plan on slaying monsters in my lifetime before I die. But I would give like an offering of beer, of meat, whatever I've cooked, liver, heart, ribeye, and I kneel. Very rarely I actually completely prostrate, like full flat down, kind of like the Muslims do when they pray. And I would say something like oh great, Thor, protector of mankind, protector of the middle class, watch over me and my family. Please accept these offerings for your defense. Thank you for your sacrifice to destroying the Mindar serpent, which is Yotak Mindar, which is like the epitome of chaos. I mean, if you've ever been on the ocean, it feels like there's a monster in the ocean. It writhes, it pulls, it moves, and man, when I was starting to read that shit, I was like, oh fuck, there's a monster in here. When I was like on shit, I love the open water, and that's like a base ritual. Me and my family do it every Thursday, because it's Thor's day. It's kind of his name day of the week, and I think that's an appropriate time to do that. But on the holidays, there's a lot of things you could do. On Yule, we do the tree, but we do the stockings. But the stockings should be boots, but we do the stockings. And I like to say that Sleipnir and Odin come chasing the white stag, and you leave sweets out for Sleipnir to eat. And if you've left sweets out for Sleipnir, Odin's 8-legged horse, he gives you gifts, And I don't do many gifts. I do 3 gifts because, I mean, there is Christian influence in our family. So I leave 3 gifts for my kid. And, you know, those 3 gifts are either it's money, some sort of clothing item, and some sort of investment item. It's kind of like how the gold, myrrh, and stuff, and frankincense, specifically because I feel being spoiled on Christmas. Well, look, you know, you got fucking grandparents and uncles and aunts and shit, right? Like, so, you know, you could do that for Yule and like for May 1st on May Day, you go out and, you know, do a maypole. You have a big bonfire. You go out early morning, collect the morning dew, and rub it on yourself because it's imbued with magical energy. And then there's the solstice. The solstice is kind of the same deal, but on the equinoxes and solstices, the realms are closest together, and you give offerings to the other realms.
You know, that's
Lamas.
interesting. That's interesting. A second ago about what you said about how somebody would get the morning dew. I know every time I go fishing, and I mean I don't care if it's even like the rare times I actually go fishing in the winter. I'll go up next to the river or the lake, and I'll kneel down for a second. I grab some water, splash it on my face, get my hair wet. That's just some. I don't know. That's just some sort of habit. Maybe you could call it a ritual. I feel like that's my good luck thing, I guess you could say.
I mean, but well, we're about to go into places, but like even like a lifting ritual, right? Let me speak from my experience. Like I do certain things when I lift. I put my hands in certain places. I grab and
Yeah.
feel the bar. I think the same thoughts, and I think that's very appropriate. And then Lamas, it's a harvest festival. Somebody has subscribed to me. Thank you, person. Victoria, I think that was. Lamas is like a harvest festival, and in the Midwest, we do a lot of corn and harvesting for grains. But I think Alpha Blood is a very important one. A year, 2 years prior to a year prior, me and my brother's father passed,
Oh,
and
I'm
we
sorry
did a
to hear
ritual.
that.
Hey, everyone's got to die, man. It's not a big deal. But we had to do a thing for him, and since the realms were close, we had to wish him the best of luck. And I think that if you have someone close to you who dies, that's important. And on Alphabet, on the elves sacrifice. So the fun thing about the elves sacrifice, right? Elves, don't think of them as Tolkien elves with like little pointy ears and gay shit like that. Elves are the greatest among us who pass on and exist on a different plane that isn't Valhalla because they didn't die in combat, or they might have. It doesn't matter. The blacksmith Wayland became an elf, but elves are great beings who transcend to another form of being that's under gods, and that's another fucking thing on this list. But you transcend to another form of being that isn't gods. But yeah,
I've
man,
got
that's
the. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought.
no, you got the list.
Oh yeah, I've got it pulled up right here actually.
I can't pull it up without destroying the chat.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Let's see. You have. I believe we went over the first 3. You have right here. It says no need for redemption from fallen nature. Nature itself is the body of our salvation.
Right.
I was going to say, if you want to continue with that real quick, I'm going to step over here. I've got to piss like a racehorse. I'll be right back.
You're good, bro.
I know it's unprofessional, but nature calls.
How
I'll be right back in just a second. I'll be back in
you.
a second. Go ahead and continue, though.
So, chat. I think everyone here can understand the very idea that, like in Christianity, the belief that we are fallen creatures and that we need to accept Christ to be redeemed, to enter a place of good. I think what Jive was getting at was that we are all neutral creatures. We're just born neutral, nor born neither bad nor good, and that we either choose to ascend to a place of Valhalla, elf-like, or even just a decent human, or we go to there's a place in hell that's called the snake pit, right? Like you go there and like you get tortured by a dragon and stuff. So it's kind of one of those things where, the Nord returns.
All right. Sorry about that. Sorry.
All I was
All right,
saying
I'm
was
back.
all I was saying is that humans are neutral creatures, and we either rise to, the status of good godhood, or we fall and show ourselves to be flawed, terrible creatures. Not flawed creatures. We just act badly because we chose to act badly, not because we are flawed. But, so, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. We've talked a bit about the elves and such.
Yeah.
Sacred locations as mediums, such as trees, springs, stones, rivers. I agree with this. Whenever I go up there to the Hiwassee River, where me and you, where we went swimming, whenever you came down here to visit. Oh yeah, man, and like how we had to climb down the steep cliff and doing the base jumping off the other side of the river. Dude, it's beautiful. Close to nature. I think that's a sacred place to me.
It is. That's why I asked you. You want to go back there with some company, and we'll go and we'll throw some meat on a fucking fire, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
With an actual proper ritual too, man. I'll guide you through a normal Gothic ritual. No, but seriously, like there ain't nothing to be ashamed of that. Like if you even have an inkling that you want these gods to be real, an idea I've had is this idea of your perception makes reality. Do you know who the Memphis Three are?
That's interesting. You brought that up. I know a bit about them, but I'm not an expert on them. My buddies Pat and Dirty Newbie. Dirty Newbie's got a channel he just started here on YouTube called Conspiracy Concepts, and he actually made a video talking about the Memphis Three. But go ahead. Explain where you were going to with this. That's interesting. You brought them up.
I'm just going to break it down real simple, right? There's these three kids who wanted to get real fucking edgy, started worshiping Satan. This one ringleader kid really got deep into it, and he got so deep and wanted Satan, right? The Christian embodiment of Satan so bad that the embodiment of that being came to life because of the very will that these three have brought, and they tortured and raped these two boys. And now they got off on some stupid technicalities later on in their life. That was a bunch of bullshit. But the point is that they wished for hell and they became hell, right?
Yeah. I do believe that is a thing that I believe in.
And let's think of Christians, right? Let's think of Christians, and they wish for peace and prosperity, and because of their peace, they get their prosperity. Whether there's like underhanded dealings or whatever, the average Christian believes that, and that's true, right? Like they have a type of zen about their insides. Let's take us as pagans, right? If I wish to slay monsters, I worship to a god who slays monsters, right? Like I worship to a god whose very objective is to kill things that knock at the gate. What other thing do you want? Right? Like, and you will in time, with careful ritual, embody the beings you worship. Like, it's very important that you do that, right? Think of Christians. Their very goal is to embody Christ, and that they wish to become Christ-like. Obviously, they can't because they're flawed. Christ is perfect. But us, as I1 types, have the very nature of embodiment. If you wish knowledge, you can embody Odin, or you can embody Tyr or Frigg or Freya. Exactly. Thank you.
Bormagni
leather scraps. That's a fucking fight name right there.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
But exactly. The your willpower like, and not even a will, like your willpower, the collective willpower. If people start seeing you in this deified position, like, let's take the saga of Ragnar Lothbrok, right? Like, Ragnar Lothbrok wished to be great like Odin. And in turn, through his sacrifice, whether the myth or not, right, becomes this great thing, you know? Like only through your deification of the deities, only through your ritual, you embody them. And so that's why the gods are real, ritual is important. Sacred places, you know, the Hiawassee River is definitely one of those, like, it radiated that energy. And, you know, ancient Celts and Anglos believe that when butterflies flock up a place, you know, like, that place is imbued with energy. And those places work as mediums. I think this is the next point. Work as mediums in between you and the gods, right? That's why, like, oak trees are important to Thor, because they work as mediums between you and the gods when they're not, you know, gallivanting on Earth. And it's very rare these days. And, you know, that could be for a lot of reasons. I was talking to my wife, who's a Greek, and I said, you know, the Greeks suck nowadays because Zeus isn't breeding with you guys anymore because you left him for Christ. You know, like, how is a god going to come down when you don't want him there anymore, you know? And so in our worship of these sacred rocks, these sacred trees, these rivers, springs, you know, these fields, these glens, these meadows,
mountaintops, all these things.
Mountaintop, you know, like, when we worship in these places, it's just that extra step to making them come back here.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the mountain that my town is named after back home, whenever I go up there, it's like a spiritual experience for me. I try to go up there once a year because, you know, I mean, I live 3.5 hours away from where I was raised. But I went up there. I went up there actually around Thanksgiving last year, the day after Thanksgiving. And, dude, it was beautiful. The icicles were, I mean, it was 17 degrees up there at the top of the mountain. The wind was howling. The grass is completely frozen. The trees are frozen. It was beautiful. And, I mean, oh, man, it was wonderful. But then even on the clear days, whenever you can see out all over, you can see the state of Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee. I believe you can see parts of Kentucky from up at the top of that mountain. And I mean, it's so beautiful, you know. Anyways, let's see, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. I'll try to get these last few in real quick before we shut it down. One of the main.
Are you bored of me already, Nord? I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not bored. I'm enjoying listening to you. This is what a lot of STJ's conference was about, was the rejecting of technology that alienates us from the natural world. If you want to elaborate on that. I will say I agree with several of the things that he did say during this segment. So go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
We don't reject the plow, you know, because it's technology. We don't reject the chariot.
Transhumanism.
Right. Well, we like eject virtual reality. Matter of fact,
yes.
I'm almost in a space to reject my phone. That Volkswagen Van Cap, he had a flip phone. I was blown away. Like, I was like,
it's rare that you see anyone do that nowadays.
It was like, I'm so close. Like, I chucked my phone at the wall hoping it'd shatter, but it only broke halfway. So it's kind of like, it's kind of shattered right here. But I was this close. I got to build the wheel back up to do it again. But we, like, don't reject technology for the sake of rejecting technology. Reject technology when it cuts your, like, it just, like, a dietary thing I would recommend is don't eat Frankenstein products, right? Like, don't eat anything
heavily processed meat and
oils and certain things like that. Like, yeah. I mean, obviously I'm drinking beer, but I mean, beer's water, hops, yeast. Like it's not that complicated for process. But don't eat like like processed oils, like sunflower, corn oils, and certain things like that. So I would say the same thing almost applies to technology, right? Like, don't do things that take you so far out of reality that you're no longer paying attention to reality. Like you're no longer going out and touching the grass. Like I get the enjoyment of video games because I used to enjoy them as a kid.
Yeah.
But I can't play them now. Like it's almost unplayable.
I grew out of that like when I was about 13 or 14. I mean, I know.
I grew up about 20,
I haven't played
4 for me.
I haven't played a video game system in well over a decade.
I
don't plan on it.
Yeah, I could play a video game for about like 35 minutes before I'm like, this isn't real. Like I'm not like actually there. Like I wish I was like a fucking dude with a sword right now, cutting down my enemy. Like I don't need this. Let me go work out, spend time with my kids instead. They're so much cooler,
Yeah. You got your family.
So that's kind of that purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. He did mention something about like genes splicing, kind of like
genetic modification.
Yeah, Yeah, he said don't add to the genes, but like if there's a defect, you could fix the genes. But at the Q&A at the end, Dan Cat, the Volkisman guy, was like, no, like I was born with birth defects. Don't fix any genes. It's the will of the gods. Like
that's kind of how I look at it. That's my
me
opinion.
too.
I don't think you should play with such things personally.
Like I suppose it's hard to say that with like I'm healthy, my wife's healthy, my kids are healthy, but like the Dr. Borgia had a I guess he's had a lot of miscarriages or something like that.
Really?
And that would be really hard for me. But at the same time, it's really easy to sit here with a hard heart and be like, such is the will of the gods. But man, like, I don't know. I don't know what to do because I've never been there. Just like combat, right? Like I could talk a lot of hot shit, but once you're getting shot at, you'll see who you fucking are, I guess.
We're just getting spammed with some fucking porn site. Had to block.
Is it good? Just kidding.
Well, it says it's the best adult dating site. So.
Oh, I don't need a date. God damn it! I just want porn.
Hey, you get your.
Kidding. It was a joke. It was a joke.
You can catch the clap if you want to do that, maybe.
But anyways. Pox.
Oh, goddamn. Let's see. Is there anything else here? Yeah.
I can wrap it.
Yeah, you want to? I was about to say, is there any other thoughts? Anything else you would like to add to it?
Yeah, man. No. So after the entire kind of, after Jive kind of finished his discussion, which was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was about an hour, 50 minutes long. It was nice. It was concise. It was good. Afterwards, we all started drinking. We all started hanging out. He was going around. Borgia was going around. We all in Borgia talked for an hour. Me and Dan Cat talked for about 45 minutes, maybe. And then like the place wanted to close, and like Jive was like, no. You said you were supposed to stay open till 1. And so we stayed open for a little longer. And then they closed. And then a bunch of people just kind of filtered out. It was about me and about 5, 7, 8, 10 other guys, somewhere around there. And we were like, Tom, you got to come drink with us right now. You got to come, So he came out. He came out with a bunch of strangers. And, we bought him some pints. We all sat and talked. We all, talked with some women, like we had a good time, right? Like, not like, and I think there's something to that. If you deem yourself a pagan, if you deem yourself a person in this community and you aren't meeting people, you're wrong. You're wrong. Like we said this last year, like you need to meet
important. People. You do. Because we're really, We are really atomized nowadays. I think it's important for us to try to meet like-minded people. Uh, but you got to, of course, you've got to be careful with it. You've got to
Yeah.
be careful with it. If anyone makes you feel off, I know before me and you met in person, you never made me feel uncomfortable. Any of the guys that I've actually I've went through and met, I believe, 10 different guys from
Yeah.
different parts of the U.S. and it's always worked out well for me. I've been lucky
Yeah.
so far, but none of them ever gave me a signal or a feeling. You know, you have to listen to your gut when you go about these things.
Guts.
If someone makes you feel uncomfortable, you ain't gotta meet them. Just tell them to fuck off. That's all you
Yeah.
got to do.
You
But
know,
anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to
no,
interject.
you're good. No, you're 100% correct, man. Like I 100% agree with you. That's a thought I've been having is like, and look, to those who like, there are silent types and there are talkers, right?
Hmm.
Uh, you know, if you're a silent type, man, like to be honest, an open ear is a lot. It's a lot better than open mouth, and that's coming from an open mouth type person. Um, and if you're a talker, shut the fuck up once in a while and try to listen to your companions, because you might enjoy what they have to say instead of your
You
own
might learn
voice.
something. Exactly. That's a brilliant point. You know, that's something I've always told myself sometimes is, you know, to know your place and on occasion, you know, shut the fuck up and listen because
You
you
know,
might learn something. They might be
and,
telling. Oh, I just want to add this real quick. You know, something I've learned about life too is a friend, a friend, quotation marks, they will tell you what you want to hear. But a true friend, they will tell you what you need to hear
yeah,
because, and it may piss you off. You know, I've had this when I was younger, I've had this happen in life. Get mad at one of my friends for telling me something that I didn't like at the time, but it turned out that they were correct all along. And when I
yeah.
realized that, I was like, man, I apologize. You were right. I was wrong. I should have listened. So yeah, it's good to listen, you know.
But
Um,
but you
Go
know,
ahead.
I really enjoyed his company. He like off of the YouTube channel, he's a great guy. He's smart. I mean, he's just one of those smart types of people. I imagine Germ would kind of be like that. And you know, these like they just provide nice bit of knowledge and like
He was just talking about the gene
it,
discussion. I didn't mean to
sorry.
get you off your train of
No,
thought, brother.
no, that's not you, man. Like that's me. And you know, like it's nice to have that type of smart big brain instead of knuckle dragging thick neck peoples. But he was a great guy, and I can't wait till next year when he does it again. I'm gonna try to drag more people along with me. There was some people from America, from the states.
Yeah,
There was a guy
I
from
heard him. Alabama, actually. I heard
yeah,
there was a guy from
yeah.
Alabama
We
and
called it. Yeah,
Australia.
he was a little small motherfucker. Um, but there was a dude from Ohio who looked like he was blonde and blue eyed, but he was big like Wiggloff.
Wiggloff is a giant.
He's a fucking monster.
I'm tickled to
No,
death. He's
like
got him. Oh, go ahead.
go
What
ahead.
was you going to say? Oh, I was just going to say I'm tickled to death that Wiggloff's got him a date tonight. Hell yeah.
Hey, that's supposed to
I'm
be
tickled.
hush hush. Stop.
Oh,
Stop.
shit. My bad. Good job, though, Wiggloff. Anyways, didn't mean to get off on that, but
That didn't happen.
um,
No, no. But I said I wasn't going to say anything to anybody on here.
oh man, damn it.
Damn it. No.
My big mouth blabbed it out, but I'm happy
No,
for
no,
him.
no. But he was 19. This kid, he was from Ohio. He was in the Army Reserves. Great dude too. And I'm probably, hopefully, going to see him sometime soon. He's probably not going to watch this. I don't think he runs in these circles, but
Yeah,
um,
that'd be cool.
he's
It's
a
important, I think.
he's a pagan individual, but he's not so much into like the white nationalists. It doesn't matter.
See, you know, that's something I've learned. There's a lot of different.
There is. I've
There's a
met an
lot of
older couple
different
too from
groups.
Wisconsin.
Oh, really? Interesting. Oh shit. Where'd you go? I think we lost our guest there, guys. Let's see if he comes back. But yeah, I was just going to say we are. There he is. Let me add him.
We good?
You there? Yeah, I got you.
That was weird.
I was wondering. I was like, what the hell?
Sorry about that,
Anyway.
guys.
Yeah. Is there any closing thoughts? Any closing remarks you have?
I think I'll end with these few things, right? The gods are real. Worship them to the best of your abilities. If you don't know how, just go to a tree that represents, go to a stream, go to a brook, go to a rock, go to a fucking rock, like a big boulder, and just be like, and whatever god you find fit to, like, that represents your heart, just say, this god I wish to represent you, here is a beer. And give him a fucking beer. Just leave it there on the rock. Leave it there by the tree. And then on top of it, don't be you and me talk about this every time we talk, man, like on this thing. Go and meet people. Go and meet people. Stop being afraid of feds. As long as you're not talking about fucking shooting up a school or fucking like an FBI like agent place, you'll be okay. Just go meet people. Like, don't be weird. Like, we're never gonna survive if we're all fucking autistic, like
Atomized. If we're all atomized.
Not even atomized, man. Like, because there are people who like me who reach out, and people are just like, I don't know, you might be someone scary. Are you ready for the fucking war? Are you afraid of one person? God, get over yourself. Like, stop being a coward. Get over it. Go meet at a fucking McDonald's or Denny's, man. You'll be okay. Like, how do you think Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, how do you think girls go on fucking dates with dudes, man? Like, like, you just gotta go out and take a chance. Don't be a coward.
Just be careful is all I'd say. And I mean, I do think there are, glowies, as glow things as we call them. But I don't think I don't know if they're as prevalent in these pagan type circles. I don't know if there is.
I think there are. There's probably one. There's probably one watching your stream right now. I just think, like, even if there was a glowy,
I think you should just talk to them.
Yeah.
Get to know them a bit.
Like,
get to know
you and
them,
me,
talk
like,
to them for a few months, and then go ahead.
When I came to your house, man, like, we've been talking for like a month.
Yeah.
And we went out to eat at that one barbecue place. Just do that, man. Like, look, I don't know. If you're planning on ever fighting in a grand war that may or may not happen, like, stop being a fucking pussy. Like you need friends. You probably need friends. Because your friends probably, like, friends you had from your childhood probably don't like you because your views have changed since you've gotten older. Like, grow the fuck up. You are on Telegram. There's dozens of thousands of people. There's probably somebody who lives literally within like 50 miles of you. Go and meet them.
You know what's interesting is I actually met a cousin of mine that I didn't know I had on Telegram. We're from the same area. He lives probably about 30-some minutes away from where I was raised. But he posted a picture. He was like, man, we might be related. And he posted a picture, and it's of this family, this sort of infamous family from that's my ancestors. They call them the Seven Devils.
Yeah,
and he posted that. Yeah, he posted it, and I was like, holy shit, dude, you're not joking. We are related. He's like, yeah, this is my great times 6 over grandfather. I was like, dude, yeah, we're distant cousins. It's there.
Well, but, there's that. And, like, look, no, what I'd consider you, Wig, Swamp, really great friends.
Yeah.
And you would never know those things unless you literally just said, fuck it, my life is forfeit. Like, what am I if I don't have, like, true companionship? And, like, I think there's, like, be courageous. Be courageous in the face of, like, absolute adversity. Like, your government hates you. Your government hates you. Most people don't like you anyway. Like, go and meet people. And if they don't like you, just be like, thank you, have a good day, and just leave them alone.
Yeah.
But don't be a faggot. There's no room for faggots in this community. No, seriously, there's no room for fucking people being limpdick and being like, well, you live 2 hours from me, but I'm not going to meet you because I'm scared that you might hurt me. Like, get out of here, you fucking wimp. I bet you can't even fucking like hike 50 miles. Oh, fuck. Never mind. Anyway, that's all for today, folks.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody that's came to the stream. I was curious about my friend's travels over to Europe, his travels and everything. And, I put a link to his YouTube channel in the description box below. And, although me and him, we may not agree 100% on everything, he's still my friend. I look at it like that. He's a good dude. And whenever push comes to shove, I hope he's someone that's by my side because we've met in person, we've hung out together, and he's a good spirit, I believe, a good soul. So if you want to check out his channel, the link's in the box. And I want to thank y'all for coming here, listening to us this Saturday afternoon. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.